Challenge: find the derivative for the following equation. f of x equals 4e to the negative x times 2 minus 3x to the fourth power multiplied by the power of 5 plus 5 cos 2 minus 3x times tan 2 minus 3x. Don't forget to use the following: the rules suggested, chain, product, and power rules, identities, tan of x equals sin of x over cos of x, as well as factors. Use identities to simplify the trigonometric function. The first step suggested to start simplifying your derivative is the use of identities. To simplify the trigonometric function, 5 cos parentheses 2 minus 3x tan times 2 minus 3x, I suggest you to use the identity tan of x equals sin of x over cos of x by replacing tan of x with sin of x over cos of x, and remember, don't forget to use the 5 in the beginning of the trigonometric function. This way, all of the cosines are going to be eliminated. The second step is to simplify the first part of the equation. You can do this by using product rule. U times v prime plus v times u prime. In this case, the u is the 4e to the negative x, then find its derivative, negative 4e to the negative x, turning it into u prime. The v is 2 minus 3x to the fourth power, multiplying everything to the fifth power. To find its derivative, use the chain rule, bringing the power down so that it can multiply the parentheses, and subtract 1 to the power, turning it into 5 parentheses 2 minus 3x to the fourth power, parentheses, multiplying everything to the fourth power. Don't forget to include the negative 12x to the third power that comes from the derivative of the parentheses. The third step joins the first equation with the trigonometric function derivative. For the f prime of x, you plug in the u's and the v's where they belong, following the product rule. This equation, you add the derivative of the trigonometric function, bringing the 5 down, turning the sin of x into cos of x, and after the derivative of the parentheses 2 minus 3x, equaling negative 3. The fourth step simplifies the whole equation. You achieve this by doing distributive property between like terms, in this case by multiplying the 5 times negative 12x to the third power, and in the trigonometric equation, 5 times the negative 3. To be able to factor in the next step, I recommend to simplify the equation a little bit more, multiplying the 4e to the negative x times negative 60x to the third power. That equals negative 240x to the third power e to the negative x, leaving the first equation as 240x to the third e to the negative x with the parentheses 2 minus 3x to the fourth power multiplied to the fourth power. To get rid of the plus sign in the other part of the equation, you replace it for a negative sign, because it is multiplying the 4e to the negative x. The last step involves factoring. This will allow you to simplify the equation more. You should find the common factors in the whole equation, in this case, negative 4e to the negative x, parentheses 2 minus 3x to the fourth power. And now it's time to simplify them of the equation. You will divide negative 4e to the negative x into negative 240x to the third power e to the negative x. The answers go in a parenthesis beside your common factors, turning the negative 240x to the third power e to the negative x into 60x to the third power. Don't forget we have one parenthesis of x, 2 minus 3x to the fourth. That should be included in the parenthesis, and then you close it. You should include the derivative of the trigonometric function after the parenthesis. You have completed your challenge. Last reminder, don't forget to bring down the e to the negative x, turning into the fraction 4 over e to the x in the first term. This problem is a challenge for every person who wants to solve it. Personally, I think that knowing how to get the derivative of this kind of equation assure you the complete knowledge of all the topic of derivatives, including the subtopics like the different rules, factoring, and identities. In general, the course of differential calculus was a challenge for me, but I acquired knowledge of lots of materials. During the semester, we reviewed functions from previous semesters, learned about limits, derivatives, and the full of the topics we learned live applications that I think that are the most important and will help us in the rest of our life.